Alrighty. I know it's Thursday. I don't think we're going to have a huge turnout today. This will probably be short unless we get a bunch of people jumping on here. As usual, I'm not going to really start. I'm going to wait till someone gives me a thumbs up. So if someone's watching, you don't have to ask a question. Just say all clear or send me the thumbs up emoji or the devil horns emoji if there is one. And I'm currently flying solo in my home. Big Mama and James are out and about on a vacation. So I have been alone. It's been crazy busy. And I am going to be honest, I got so much shit done. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. I got so much shit done yesterday and this morning already. I was up obviously early like I usually am. I'm not up at 4:30 though. Those people are nuts. I don't know how you wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Thank you, Neil. So anyway, as always, if you have a question, please ask in the chat to the side there. We've been having a lot of luck with these live streams, at least with the quality and stuff. Thankfully, I kind of figured some shit out, so I'm still working on all this stuff. So anyway, it is a quiet home. Oh my God, we only have living in our house one kid. It's unbelievable the difference in the just one. I couldn't imagine having like 3 kids in this house or any house. It's got to be bananas. Some of my friends have 3 or 4 kids. Holy cow. Oh my Lord. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Again, I doubt we're going to get a lot of, this was kind of last second, just so everyone knows the reason why we are doing this on Thursdays. I got so much stuff going on. This whole week has been crazy. Yesterday I had to miss actual training with the kids at London, and not because I was gone, it's just because my schedule wouldn't allow it. That's the first time in 9 years. So we've been super busy. Anyway, so I will be back on tomorrow, just in case anyone gives a shite. All right, here we go. Jonathan Crossley says, hey, thanks for putting this on. Well, thank you for watching, Jonathan. Thankfully able to join while flying to the East Coast for work. Ooh, I wonder. All right, man, I've done I've done my fair share of traveling and flying. Not like I know some people that are on the road much more than they're at home. It's bananas, but I've done a lot of flying too. But man, East Coast, there's some beautiful places out there, and man, there's some giant b-holes out there too. Generally speaking, if you're in the Midwest, at least it's been my experience. Super nice people. That's where I grew up, so maybe it's just because this is what I'm used to. When you head out west, you get a lot of pretension. Some good dudes out there too, obviously. Then when you go out east, I always laugh because they'll say stuff like, I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling it like it is. And it's like, dude, you're just a dick. Don't try to cover it up. Anyway, south is always very nice. If you're in I guess it depends on where you are in the south. I always say there's like 2 souths. There's the ones that the northerners have infiltrated. Like Florida, Miami is not the south. I'm sorry. There's other places in Florida which is definitely the south, but Miami is not the south. All right. So Jonathan says, thanks for the advice last week on programming weighted pull-ups and dips. All right, that's good. Instead of using them as main list with the main lift percentages, I'm approaching those with more of a sub-max volume, like you said, and using the 75%, 85% approach like you laid out in prior books. I'm telling you, we bomb the crap out of our pull-ups, and generally speaking, most of our kids who are a little overweight, they do banded pull-ups, and besides that, we're always working on getting our lift stronger. Squat, bench, trap bar, all the assistance and stuff. And we do pull-ups 3 days a week as part of our warm-up. And magically, most of those kids, after an off-season, can all do at least 1 pull-up, usually 5. And they just use banded pull-ups. And we just do, 10 to 15 minutes of that along with other stuff. But they're just doing sets of 1, 2, 3, or whatever they can do. So it's amazing what happens, though. So if you're struggling with your pull-ups, do them often, do light. You don't have to do, if you can't do a pull-up, use banded pull-ups, and just make sure other parts of your body are getting stronger too, right? That's pretty okay. So, appreciate it, Jonathan. Enjoy your travels out east. I'll tell you what, man, I was very lucky. My parents, whenever in the summer, we found ways to travel. We've rented motorhomes, so we went very, very low class, so to speak. But I've been to every state when I was a kid except for Alaska and, ironically, Louisiana. I don't know why. But I'm telling you, Vermont was one of the most beautiful states. That, and the other thing that always stood out to me, we went to the Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball. Cooperstown, New York was absolutely beautiful. I remember that. New Hampshire, all out there. But Vermont, to me, unbelievable. All right, Eric Davis says, if I can do dumbbell row with 100 pounds for 10 reps, what is the best approach to get to 100 pounds for 20 reps? Your best approach is doing tons of rows. And there's a million ways to do this. As an example, you pick up you just have to choose this. You'll say maybe one day you do 50 total reps with an 85-pound dumbbell. How you get there doesn't really matter. Another day, you pick up a 50-pound dumbbell or 55 and you do 100 total reps. Or one day you go 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and you just run the gamut with a little bit of rest in between, 10 reps per arm, and then repeat. Or one day you you just do 1 to 2 sets of 25 to 30 reps with a light dumbbell. So the goal, Eric, is there's no systematic approach. That's just not how training is going to work. Everyone wants, like, well, listen, I'm going to do 10 reps this day, then 11 reps, then 12 reps. That's not how it works. Use a wide variety of means to get the row up, and I don't think it needs to be structured in any specific way. Just go ahead and find and challenge yourself in awesome ways once or twice a week with the rows. Maybe one day can be kind of fun and hard and stupid, and the other day can just be normal, so to speak, if you want to do them twice a week. But be as a creative. I have a whole list of stuff on the forum about, like, fun stuff to do with assistants, but be as creative and do as many dumb things as possible, fun things, and don't just do one set of 10, set of 8, set of 6, or whatever, or stop. Like, if you're doing 85-pound, maybe you're doing 85s for 35 total reps or 50 total reps per arm, and maybe you get to 15 and you got more in you, keep going. Learn to build that strength and that toughness, and when you feel good, go ahead and just latch on and do something awesome. As usual, make sure your other parts of your body are getting stronger. So don't neglect, your bench and squat and all that other stuff. I think that really obviously contributes to pull-ups, curls, stuff like that. So, I guess the most important thing, Eric, is there's not, one day I'm going to do this, and then the next day, and I'll get to 20 reps in, 10 days or 10 weeks or whatever it is. It's not how training works. We'd like to think it does, and sometimes it can, but invariably there's going to be ups and downs. So what I do with the people, we just bomb the shit out of stuff and have some fun. And it almost always works itself out, or you get very close to where you're supposed to be, right? They say, aim for X. What do they say? Aim for the stars and you're going to reach the moon or something. I don't know what the hell people say. Anyway, you get it. It's one of those stupid sayings that I find on those motivational posters. That shit would drive me nuts. Oh my God, you remember those things like the eagle? Those who fly high, fly best. And there's a picture of, like, a bald eagle. It's so stupid. All right, Jonathan Crossley says, God, those used to be like a big hit. I'm guessing like in the 90s, and maybe around that time you'd find them at any office, Teamwork makes the dream work. One comment: walrus training makes it so easy to be consistent. I've been traveling a lot, but unbelievably easy to knock out pull-ups, push-ups, and walking lunges just about anywhere and anytime. You are exactly right. That's one of the good things. Even if you don't have access to a weight room, for example, if people that went through the pandemic, everyone freaked out because, like, I don't have a gym. Well, man, you can do a lot with just a little area. I mean, people in prison have definitely shown this to be true. You can get which is a small area. You can do a lot of push-ups. You can do a lot of squats. You do a lot of ab work. There's tons of ab work. You can do hip thrusts. It's a little weird looking, I'm sure. You can do single leg hip thrusts. My son Mason has a pull-up bar in his bedroom on the doorway. You can get portable dip bars. We have them in our house. I got Mason some. So there's a lot of things that you can do if you don't have access to a weight room or if you don't have a lot of time. Even if you did, just as an example, you did a short 1 or 2 rounds of a circuit every couple hours, man, I think you'd be better off. You do that 8 to 10 times a day. I think you'd feel really, really good. It's obviously not going to make you into Ronnie Coleman or anything like that, but at least you'll be fit. Mailman James says, I like running Boing but big on upper and FSL on lower. Thoughts? Totally fine. Not every lift is going to be the same. One of the things that we do at London, and something I wish I would have done, is just bodybuild the upper. And then with the lower, we just try to get explosive, strong, fast reps. And obviously we're running and jumping and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong at all, mailman. Mailman. All right, I got to take a sip of my caca. God, this stuff tastes so bad. Patrick Baynard says, hey, Jim, squat always used to be my strongest lift. Now my upper body lifts are the ones where I perform the best. Do you think this is because I don't do nearly as much single leg work or leg work in general? Probably not, unless that's a huge weakness for you. I think you've just gotten better. And generally speaking, Pat, the older you get, obviously not when you're like 50, but generally speaking, your lower body lifts will progress and you'll get stronger, and your bench press and press will get better as you get a little bit older and you put on muscle and you get a little more mature. So I don't think that's the reason why. Maybe that is for you in general, but if single leg work, listen, I like single leg work. I did it all my life. I did it in college. I think it's awesome. I don't think it's completely necessary. There's a lot of stuff that myself and Matt Rhodes talked about this, all this stuff that we learned over the years, like you have to do this and have to do that. And a lot of us, because of, crazy circumstances, for whatever reason, just bear with me on this, we can't do all the things that we were supposed to do, right? There's some kind of kink in the system, time-wise or whatever, or just maybe you don't have access to X, Y, and Z. And magically things work themselves out without those things, okay? I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And then it's like, well, shit, I thought those things were super, super important. And then you realize, no, maybe they're not that important. Case in point, single leg work. I think for some athletes it's really good. I think maybe mentally they need it too. But as I always like to say, we've had a tremendous amount of success with our football team. And we don't do a lot, if at all, single leg work unless you count, hills and stairs and prowler as single leg work, right? Because obviously running and stuff like that. So I don't know. I know this is not exactly answering your question, Patrick, but I don't know. There's so many sacred cows in training, and sometimes I don't know how sacred they are. Let's just put it that way. For some people they can be, but I think a lot of us, and myself included, have held on to things in our coaching and training life, and I'm like, man, did I really need to do that? And I don't know. I really don't know. I also think, and this is going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this, a lot of the things that we get from training are from high-level athletes, okay? And so they go and do X, Y, and Z, and then they have great success on the field or on the court or whatever, and then they kind of get adopted. And truth be told, those people would have great success regardless of what they do. So just remember that too. However, Patrick, I will say this. I do think just an overall globally strong body, I think you do need to do some what I call dumb leg work. Just stuff that makes your legs stupid strong, not necessarily squats or deadlifts. I don't think that's got to be stuff that you do that allows you to push the legs and the mind farther than you think possible without much mental mental work. As an example, leg press, right? You just kind of sit there and push. Walking lunges, walking up hills with the weight vest, the power squat, that was great for me. I still think there's value in that. I just don't know in your case if the single leg work is that important. The other thing is I've seen a lot of people, and of course people will disagree with this, as I've seen many times before, is I think people abs and low back need to be way stronger if they want to increase their squat and deadlift. So Jonathan Crossley, geez, Jonathan, oh, you're on the plane, right? So you're just sending in shit. All right, good for you. Hope you have a few cocktails on the plane. Every once in a while, when I used to fly out to see Mason all the time, once or twice a month, and if I had I was on like the priority list or whatever, and every once in a while they would upgrade me to first class, and if I was traveling first class on the way back to Columbus, whew, I drank a few cocktails. I still remember one of the times I always took the last flight out on Sunday, which not the smartest thing to do because if the flight's canceled, you're kind of screwed. But anyway, I remember I was sitting first class, and as soon as I sat down, they start feeding you drinks. And I still remember one time I probably had, I'm not going to say how many I had, but it was well over 6. And I kind of was falling asleep, and the lady took my empty drink out of my hand. I was just barely awake, and then she put a fresh one right in there, just wedged it in there. And it was one of my most adult, like maybe I should stop drinking moments in my life, but it was fun. Jonathan says, I travel a ton for work, but not as much as I used to. 250 days a year. Oh, God. But Walrus makes things stupid simple and eliminates any excuses. That's awesome, Jonathan. I'm telling you, there's a lot of reasons why I created like 531 and Walrus training and some of this other stuff. And really that stupid simple and eliminates any excuses and kind of paves a way for you that's already been done for you, and you just got to do it. So, and it works perfect for someone in your situation. So I'm awesome. That's awesome, man. Orion. Boy, Orion, you are officially, if I have a black metal band, that's going to be my my nom de, what do they call it? Nom de guerre. So, he says, hey, Jim, thoughts on daily body weight and walrus work, squats, bench, row one day, and a hinge pull-up the other day, and cycling those. Thanks. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So let's just dissect this just a little bit. Thoughts on daily body weight and walrus work? Yes, people can do that. I did that for a long time. I still do a version of that. But I don't know if you should do that while you're also doing barbell stuff. And it looks like you are doing squat, bench, rows, and then like deadlifts and pull-ups on the other day. So I don't know, Orion, if that's the smartest thing. You could probably do it. You'd probably be okay doing it. I just don't know if it's optimal, if I'm going to be completely honest. If I was, the smartest thing you can do if you want to combine like walrus stuff and lifting stuff is do the one main lift a day and then do the walrus stuff as assistance, and then doing that, for example, 3 days a week. And then the other days you do some kind of movement, riding the bike, pushing the prowler, running hills, doing a weight vest walk, stuff like that. It probably works a lot better than on those days in between your lifting to do the walrus and bodyweight work. I'll just be completely honest. I don't think it's necessary at all. I think it's probably going to drive down your progress. I really do. I just don't. If that worked very well, people would be doing it all the time. I just don't think it does. It's a cool concept. We're taught, obviously you want to work hard, do all this stuff, but there's a certain point where working hard has to cross over with working smart, and I don't think that's working smart. I totally lost my place. I apologize. All right, here we go. Brian Koppelman says, hey, Chief. Oh, my God. That's what I used to call Mason. Call him the Chief. He is running 531 Born But Big as a 59-year-old. I've read second edition Beyond Forever. Straightforward question. Is it okay to do the high rep accessories on what would be normally conditioning days? Brian, I don't think it's optimal. If that's what you have to do, that's fine, but I probably wouldn't recommend that. At least doing it long term. I just think it's very much like the question that Orion, again, that's my black metal name from now on. I've never worn corpse paint. I know that surprises a lot of people, but I've never worn corpse paint. Anyway, I don't know how much corpse paint I could use with my face being so heavily bearded. Anyway, the question is it okay? I probably wouldn't recommend it long-term approach. How's that? It's okay to do occasionally, but I probably wouldn't do it long-term. Orion then says, I forgot to add, again, this is the walrus stuff, not in the 50 to 200 rep range, but closer to 50 reps to make up for frequency. Yeah, I understand that, man. And listen, you can give it a shot, but I just don't know if it's going to make you any better. And as an example, I did, 2 training sessions a day for 7.5 months. And each workout, I had a 20-pound vest. I would ride the bike. Every session would start with the bike, 150 squats, 100 push-ups, and 50 pull-ups, and then ride the bike, go in, do whatever I needed to do, and then at some point during the day, I would do another one. Of course, the beginning, you get really sore, things hurt, then your body adapts, but I don't think that made me any better other than it reset my discipline. So I think that for me, boy, did I need that. I needed a kick in the ass. I needed to I needed to work hard again. I needed to kind of feel miserable again. And it's not because I'm like a sadomasochist. I just needed to kick my ass a little bit. And it 100% loved every minute of it. Some of my favorite training I've ever done was that. But I didn't get much better up to a certain point because my body was just not resting. So just understand that, okay? David PM, he says, hey Jim, what do you think about leg extensions versus lunges for leg assistance? I think they're both great. I don't think one is better than the other. I think one is much more intensive. Obviously, lunges are much more intensive than leg extensions. Lunges will make you horribly sore in general, much more than leg extensions. Obviously, leg extensions will make you sore, but not like lunges. I also think it just depends on what you have time for, what your recovery is going to be, and what you're going to do later on in the week. So one is not better than the other. How about that? There you go. I'm always on the fence, motherfuckers. Just understand that there's nothing wrong with either of them. It's just one is much harder than the other, especially when I always say you could probably do lunges every day for a year and you'd still probably get sore. That to me, lunges were always an ass kicker. So they're awesome exercise, but you just got to be careful. God of Destruction says, hello, Jim. Thanks for taking the time to answer our questions. Well, thank you for asking. God of Destruction. Do you use isometrics with your athletes? If so, how would you incorporate it? The only time we use ISOs with our athletes was as part of a warm-up using with body weight. So for example, we would hold the bottom of the push-up position, lay on the ground and do like kind of a Superman or like the upper back Superman, if that makes sense. And a single leg kind of ISO hold. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Jay Schrader, the famous guy, and like all that stuff. But we would do it as part of warm up. We don't like push the bar into racks or anything. For the athletes that I work with, I think it's 1,000% pointless. That's just me. So maybe if you're working with high level athletes or working in a small group of athletes, maybe you just want to throw it in. I don't think it's going to hurt, but it's a waste of time. One of the things we do very well at London, and this is myself and Kyle Cutler have talked about this, and we talk about to the kids, is we want to be as efficient as possible. Setting all that stuff up, teaching all that stuff. Is it going to drive our kids' bench presses to 400 and everyone going to be awesome because of isometrics? The answer is no. No. we got, I'd rather get everyone to do 50 push-ups and 20 pull-ups. That's much more important than isometrics. So, Albert Wing says, for the inconsistent / busy man template, is there a need to do leader anchor templates? Nope, not at all. No, there's just too much variables, and there's going to be so much variety in between your training. No, not at all. Albert Wing says, how to do the 5-3-1 PR sets correctly. Do we pause and stop to do another rep, or we must do continuous reps? I don't really know how to answer this. I mean, if you're pausing forever, then I don't know. Listen, this set should look like a normal set that everyone else does. You shouldn't be, if you're squatting, you have to hold it there for a minute to do another rep. I don't think anyone's really going to call that a set, or if you put the barbell down when you deadlift and stand up and just kind of hang out, the set's already done. So just do normal sets, Albert, and don't think too much about that. All right. Doesn't mean you can't pause at the top and catch your breath, but generally speaking, at a certain point, you're turning your set into like your one set into two sets. I saw a guy who used to say I did, X amount of reps with the deadlift at 315, but I put the bar down and I just kind of wiggle my arms and I do another rep. I'm like, dude, it's not a set, man. That doesn't mean you can't do it like that, and that's what you want to do, but that's not the same thing. So Albert, just use your common sense. That's the best way I can say it is, if you're pausing too long, then the set is already stopped. Jeffrey Hewitt says, hey, I'm starting a group of middle schoolers for summer training next week. Any advice on possible parents questioning what we do? My take is building GPP and go from there. Yes. One of the first thing I told Kyle Cutler when I volunteered to help out was I said I just don't want to talk to any of the parents. And that was as a result of my father being a longtime athletic director, teacher, and coach. I saw what the parents did to the coaches, and I just didn't want any part of that. I am 100% for the kids. I want them to have a great time. I don't want to have to answer dumb questions. That doesn't mean I haven't talked to parents at all, because as I've been doing this job, I've gotten to know a lot of parents, but the parents generally trust me. At least it seems like they do. And we've had a tremendous amount of success too. So that obviously helps quite a bit. But yes, GPP is the most important thing, and we don't need to specialize no matter what sport we're doing. And I always like to say, Jeffrey, listen, we can start specializing, and then I start listing the things they need to do. They need to squat double their body weight, trap bar 3 times their body weight. They need to run a sub 6-minute mile, jump on a 48-inch box. And do 20 perfect pull-ups. As soon as your kids can do that, then we can really start specializing. So that's usually what I try to tell them. If someone did, no one really says anything to me. So, but yeah. And the other thing, Jeffrey, is just, you want to always be polite, because, it's important that you have the support of the parents, but I also make sure you don't take any shit. That's the other thing. As soon as you kind of back down, and again, that doesn't mean you be rude. It means you stand up, and if you need, how do I put this? Be confident in what you're doing, and if someone has a problem with that, that's their problem. As an example, I've gotten a lot of criticism by other people in this industry with what we do at London. A lot. All right. Not like a lot more than I thought I would. I'll be completely honest, because I don't know why anyone gives a shit. But I've had people say stuff, or not say stuff to me, obviously, but in passing to other people. And I believe in what we do. I believe in how I do stuff. I believe I have the best interest at all times with the kids in mind. I say that all the time. Like, my most important thing is not about me. It's about the kids. It's about the team. So I'm very confident in what I do. So if someone does have criticism, I'm okay with it, because I believe in what I'm doing. So case in point, I have a desk here, right? Sitting right here. If someone came in the house and told me this is a tobacco farm, and they were getting all mad at me. And I said, well, it's a desk. I don't know what you're talking about. And they kept on yelling at me. I wouldn't give them any mind. They're bananas. All right. I'm not going to sit there and fight with someone who's telling me one thing when I know the truth. And when the truth is staring you, like, I think a lot of people forget that. Like, you can't reason with like an addict, right? I think people that have dealt with that, like, they're not going to think in a common sense way. And it's just like, I don't deal with that stuff because there's no point. You're not going to convince someone. We all know this is a desk that I'm sitting at. Just trust me, it's a desk. So if someone wants to come in and yell that there's a tobacco farm instead, then I'm just, whatever, man. Tobacco farm for you. Good times. So anyway, middle schoolers. Woo! Just a hot load of shit. And I have a middle school son right now. Okay, good morning, Mr. Wendler, says Syed Hassan. Is there a total number of reps for each 5 through 1 week you recommend aiming for? I always aim for 10 to 11 on 5s, 8 to 9 on 3s, and 5 to 6 on 1's week. Not sure if I should keep the training max and increase the reps. Well, each person is going to be different, just so we're clear on that. Each week will be different. Generally speaking, for the kids I work with, we got to get 15 on all the weeks, at least 15. You always cap the reps at 15 on the squat and deadlift, I should say. On the bench press, on the 5 through 1 week, the minimum you should get is 7. So that's how we do things here at London. I don't think that's appropriate for everyone, especially with, 25, 30, 35, 40-year-old people. I don't think you need to be aiming for that all the time. But before we bounce up on the deadlift, for example, you have to show a 100% capacity to do every single rep on the final set of every single week for 15 perfect reps. If you haven't achieved that, doesn't mean we always do sets of 15 or anything, but you have to show that you are under control of that bar at all times. The back doesn't waver around, or things get weird, or the sets are a grind. All right, that's how we do things. I am not hyper focused on loading at the school. I am hyper focused on doing the sets and reps correctly, and magically things get better. Okay, so I think you're about where you need to be. I would probably shoot for a few more reps on the squat and deadlift on 5's week, if I'm going to be honest. But that's just how I do stuff. All right, I have noticed that our kids feel better, get stronger, and get bigger when we use a lower training max. So I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Kim. All right. So Kim NG says, hey Jim, I'm looking to start training for a half marathon, but I still want to focus on a little bit of hypertrophy. What would you recommend for training if I want to lift 3 times a week and run 3 times a week? All right, well, this is pretty easy. So I would do the 5-3-1 DeFranco style. So on Monday, I would bench press. Wednesday, I would probably trap bar or box squat. And on Friday, I would do the press. On Mondays and Fridays, it would be all upper body assistance work and maybe some ab work. On Wednesdays, you would do your main lift. I would do abs and low back, and then I would go. I would keep the lower body stuff fairly easy, meaning I would not push those final sets. But if you use the trap bar and the box squat, I'd always box squat a little bit above parallel if I were you. I think that you would probably be okay. And then just do high reps and maybe 2 to 4, maybe 5 lifts for the assistance work on Mondays and Fridays, and just abs and low back stuff that allow you to run and recover on Wednesday. That's super important. So that's what I would do. Obviously, you're going to have to make sure your diet is 1,000% dialed in. So that's how I would do it. So Monday is bench press, and then just body build the assistance. Wednesday would be squat or a box squat or trap bar. Keep the reps probably under 5. All the reps are dialed in, abs and low back. Friday would be overhead press or whatever your secondary pressing movement would be. Again, body build the upper body. 1,000% I would do that. So, boy, I'll tell you what, in about an hour, me and Zach are doing a prowler challenge with 4 plates on each side. It's going to be absolutely miserable, but it is overcast, and I'm super pumped up. Oh, Zach did a half mile with 3:45 on the trap bar and a 20-pound vest on Tuesday. It was horrible. Horrible. Half mile with that. No straps, obviously. Tough times, man. Tough times. So this is the final week that Zach Jones and I will be training together. He's got to go back to school for football. So it's been awesome being with him. So, all right, here we go. I'm just, I don't want to do this prowler challenge. I'll be completely honest. I'm going to be so fucking tired today. Dude, the prowler feels like you're physically obviously tired. Obviously, the great thing about the prowler is we all know it doesn't make you sore, but you just get the prowler hangover. And that's not just that there's a prowler flu where you get sick, and that usually passes after the first couple times, but the prowler hangover, tough times. All right. Sved Heisen says, also, I'll be competing in a powerlifting competition soon. I've been taking your advice from your last stream to heart for powerlifting. Thank you. That's awesome, man. Well, good luck. Never mind. Sven Heisen, remember, just don't do the meet before the meet. Get as strong as possible. People always want to do like these elaborate peaking plans. The most important thing when you train for powerlifting is you kick ass the first 5 years of training, and then magically you do well at the meet when you train really hard. So just remember that. Ryan D says, week 3 of asking for a new book about life and philosophy. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Raymond Gerardo says 6+ drinks as assistance work on a flight is wild. Yeah. I'm so happy I'm not a alcoholic or addict. Oh, man, we used to pound. I don't know how I used to drink as much as I did, and I'm not like bragging about it. As soon as I decided to stop drinking, I just stopped. And that's not because I have tremendous willpower. I'm just not addicted to it. You know, I didn't have that gene, so to speak, but oh my God. Steven says, is the power squat machine much different to a leverage squat machine? I have never used a leverage squat machine. It's probably fairly similar. I don't know about the poundages and weights, so I'm not sure how that goes. That doesn't really matter because you just load the correct load for your strength, so I don't think that matters one bit. But it's probably pretty similar to the muscles it works. So, yeah. I just lost my place. All right, Mailman James says, so far this week I have 37 miles of essentially rucking up and down porch steps. Would this count as dumb leg work? Don't often do much assistance for lower. It just depends. I don't know. I think that will take care of your conditioning. I don't know how much lower assistance it would be. When I talk about dumb leg work, like for assistance, that's when you do like 2 sets of 100 on the leg press and your legs are shaking like this, or you're doing a quarter mile lunges, or stupid stuff like that. I think that's important. I don't think that's exactly what you're doing, but there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I still think it counts as something. Let's put it that way. All right. So John Leonard says simple cues for teaching high school athletes to hip hinge. Well, we teach them how to squat first. That's the most important thing. When we do the hip hinge, we just do we just have them stick their butts back, right? We just butt back, knees slightly bent, good stance. We just start from there, and then we just, obviously you want to bend over. We don't really teach a lot of hip hinge, I'll be completely honest. We do some, so we make sure that the kids, before we do any of that they've been squatting, and the trap bar, which can be a little bit of a hip hinge, but the kids, we just teach the trap bar. We don't teach a hip hinge, if that makes sense. I don't worry about that stuff. We don't really teach that until maybe their sophomore year when we do the snatch, what do they call, devil's press, with the 2 dumbbells between your legs. And then we coach there. But by that time, they have a pretty good level of strength. And they're able to push their butt back and maintain good back position. But I think that's primarily because they've just gotten stronger overall. I think that's one of the big things because we do so many rows. Their upper backs and lats are very strong. We obviously do a ton of pull-ups. Their total body strength is much better. Their legs are much stronger. Obviously, all the prowler work and stadium steps and stuff like that we do. So I don't really know other than stick the butt back, nice strong chest, but those, and then we just, you can start with maybe an empty barbell or something like that, or use a dumbbell and hold it, with the bell. You can do stuff like that. So I don't know, like John, we don't really teach like a hip hinge thing. We just teach the movements and go from there based on what they can do. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't worry about that stuff. The primary hamstring accessories for high school, we don't really do anything other than maybe the devil's press. We did RDLs for a little bit, but it didn't make any difference. We used to do straight leg deadlifts and RDLs. When I took them out, nothing changed. And if I had my druthers, had like a giant facility and all kinds of time and coaching, we would probably do glute ham raises or back raises, which I think are great for your hamstrings too. But we don't. We only have 2 glute ham raises. So the kids that maybe are a little more advanced, I have them do that as part of their warm up. But like John, I talked about this earlier. There's a lot of stuff that we've been told that kids need. We squat. We sprint a lot, obviously. We push the prowler a lot. We do a lot of stuff for our legs. I just don't really divide it up like in the hamstrings or anything like that. And we've never had any hamstring issues, ever, which is crazy. So take that for what it's worth, man. Man, I'm just telling you, a lot of things that I thought were sacred cows just kind of got shot down when I would love to do the glute ham raise, but we don't have access. We can't do them. And years ago, I would think, oh, what are we supposed to? We can't train, and we just stopped. We just didn't do it, and then we just got better. I don't know. It's a nice kick in the nuts when everything you've read about, a lot of it's not true. Aswath Rayo says, I know at least 2 days of lifts are suggested, but if the priority is sports, for example, MMA and everything that goes with it, and conditioning, is 1 day of squat, bench, deadlift with 5-3-1 sets of reps a good idea? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I think 2 days a week are better, and I think it's going to be much easier on your body than doing 3 main lifts in one workout. We do 1 main lift. So 1 day would be like, for example, the bench press with limited assistance work. The other day would be a trap bar with limited assistance work. And I think you're going to get much better results instead of having a good squat workout, an average bench workout, and a crappy deadlift workout, because you're doing 3 main lifts all in 1 day. I think you're probably better off, 1,000% better off doing 2 days. We get all that stuff done. Our warm up with pull-ups and neck, our assistant or our main lift, bench or squat or bench or trap bar, and then our 2 assistance lift, which is usually upper body press and upper body pull. We get it done in like less than 40 minutes. And we sometimes have time left over because we're so efficient at how we do it. Every set is on a timer, stuff like that. So anyway. I guess what I'm trying to say, Aswath, is I don't think it's a good idea. Find a way to make the 2 days a week work, and learn how to be more efficient, and I think you'll be much better off. Squat RX says, yay! Happy to be here. Just wanted to say that insights that you gave for working with high school kids were amazing, like timing the warm-ups, etc. So thank you. I'm also a Count Dante fan. All right, Count Dante. I got the poster up in my weight room. Jonas says, hey, Jim, I've been helping a friend get into lifting the past couple years with a squat bench row day and an RDL incline bench day. They want to start doing some more athletic stuff like half jumps, cartwheels. Any advice on how to start or program? I would just make sure they can do it without getting injured. That's tough to do, and I would do that as part of the warm-up. take no more than 5 minutes. Use a variety of different movements. As an example, you can do bear crawls forward, bear crawls backwards. What's the other things we use? Crab walk forward, crab walk backward. You go crab walk side to side, anything side to side. Forward rolls. We do cartwheels. We do 3 rolls into 3 jumps, 3 jumps into 3 rolls, cartwheel, roll, jump, cartwheel, roll, jump. That's another thing that we like to do. We do pogos, as fast as possible. Then we do pogos for height. We do standing long jumps, kneeling jumps. We do a variety of starts, and we would call like sprint conditioning from a variety of different stances, and just weird movements. I think that is super important to do too. For example, when we do our 50s, we will start from a different position, hands and knees, bottom of a push-up position, top of a push-up position, sideways, backwards, on our backs. We got to turn over. On your side, you got to turn over. Kneeling jump from a lunge position or a hip flexor stretch position without using your hands. From your knees without using your hands, stuff like that. So I think all that stuff can be done. Again, that could be easily done, any of that stuff done as a warm-up for 5 to 10 minutes prior. And just the movements. The other thing that I do personally every week, I try to do my cone drills. I have just the 9 cone drill. It's 10 by 10. Every 5 yards there's a cone, so 3 cones, whatever, 5 yards apart, and I just randomly pick exercises. You side shuffle up, side shuffle up, side shuffle up, or run, whatever. You just make different designs, so to speak. And it literally takes 5 to 10 minutes. I just do it out in my yard. I half-ass it like no one's business, but I think that stuff is super important too. Probably not just for your body, but for your mind too. I absolutely love doing that stuff, especially when you realize you don't have to go crazy. Gary Howe says, howdy, Jim. How do you feel about using a Hindu mace as assistance work, especially after bench press or press for 5 through 1? I use I don't know if mine's a Hindu mace. I haven't checked. I haven't asked it either. I don't know what it is. It's just that long thing, right? It looks like a weapon. I'm not sure if that's a Hindu mace or not, but yeah, you can use that as assistance work. I don't know. I would also make sure, Gary, you're doing some muscle building. I use the mace as a warm-up for my shoulders. No matter what I do, that's part of my warm-up. As always, Gary, feel free to use it as assistance, but just don't base your entire identity on doing mace work. I see some people do some weird shit. They hold on to it and do a squat. I'm like, dude, it's 20 pounds. Like, it's not that impressive. So stop being a turd. Jonathan Crossley says, do you or Juliet have any ideas on benchmarks that you wish the younger middle school kids would be able to do prior to getting to the middle school program? That's a kind of a hard question to answer, Jonathan. The kids should just be active. It'd be nice if they were able to do, general, go over like a basic obstacle course. It'd be nice if they had that kind of coordination and mobility, so to speak. It'd be nice if they were able to do push-ups and have the strength to do a bodyweight squat. I think the big thing is make sure they're active and don't let them be overweight. And they should be able to run, just general running. They don't have to be able to run 4-minute mile or anything, but they should be able to do a couple laps around the football field or the track. They should be able to do some push-ups. They should be able to understand what sprinting means, stuff like that. But as far as like physical feats, other than like the basic stuff, no. But what we have noticed is the biggest dilemmas are just no activity and obese. That's our big issues, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So, he says, hey Jim, what's your take on Bill Starr late in life recommending high reps for old dudes? I'm not exactly sure. What do you mean by high reps? Like in the squat, bench, and deadlift? I probably generally recommend lower reps, like the Prilipin stuff. Like, I've been recommending a 5-3-1 Prilipin or anything Prilipin-esque for our older guys. And then using the assistance work to do some of the higher up stuff. That's what I would generally recommend. I don't know if I would really recommend higher ups for older athletes, even if the load is light. I just think it's a lot of stress on the joints in the body. So anyway. Jeffrey Hewitt. I'm not sure. Okay. I think, Jeffrey, you asked about the like you're training middle school kids. He says, my take is that they can always go somewhere else. Yeah. Listen, I get it. I'm not like so elitist or anything, but that whatever. I'm not going to go into that stuff. But I'm there to help the kids. If someone doesn't want my help, I'm fine with that too. That's, whatever. Lee says, hot damn, Jim is live. Thanks for the work. Started my journey with 5 through 1 years ago. Really helpful stuff. So I'm going to, hot damn, Jim is live. Hot damn. There we go. Jim is live. All right. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate it, man. Willie T says, do you make your athletes run track? No, I don't make my athletes do anything they don't want to do. If they want to run track, good on them. If not, then we'll just play baseball or can hang out with Coach Wendler and we can make dumb jokes and train our asses off. So no, I do not make my athletes do that stuff. They don't want to do it. They don't have to do it. Carlos D says there's no middle school weightlifting program, so freshmen and sophomores are pretty raw. Do you always teach how to fail a main lift? Our guys are behind with basics such as grip and foot placement, brace, etc. No, I don't teach anyone how to do that. We teach them kids how to spot, but we generally don't do anything to failure on the main lifts. So, and I would never load a kid in such a way that they would have to fail. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, the big thing with the bench press is, kids get all squirrely, and that's when the spotters, you got to make sure that there's clamps on the bar and make sure the spotters are aware. I have to get on the younger guys all the time because if they don't, they'll just start staring off into space. But no, I don't have to teach that stuff mainly because we don't do it. Even the younger kids, we just make sure they're doing the reps on everything correctly before we start going crazy. So. But yeah, the basics such as grip, foot placement, brace, and stuff like that, we have to do that all the time. So there's no difference, even if your kids don't have a middle school weightlifting program. So that's always being taught. But I'm telling you, when I don't overload the kids because those things are an issue. Our weights are light enough that if something goes wrong, the kids are not going to get hurt. I can't stress that enough. A lot of things get taken care of, like bracing and grip and foot placement when the load is correct, that they can perform they have the physical and mental confidence to do the lifts the way they're supposed to be done. And I preach that. I get on the young kids about that all the time, especially when one of the young kids screws up that has been through the middle school program. I say, there's no way my wife taught you to lift like that. And I tell them, like, I should be able to turn my back and you guys should always be doing the right thing at all times. Perfection, how our standards are, should always be the standard. And again, I'm not a form Nazi, but your back should not be rounding. Your squat shouldn't be 2 inches high. Your stance shouldn't be here. I get on the kids on that stuff, man, because to me, it's the most fucking selfish thing in the world that you're going to do your own thing. There's 60 kids in there. I can't just watch you. You're not that important. So do it right. And listen, I get on them, and Cutler will get on too. Like, you're expected to do things to a standard at all times. By not doing that, you're a selfish bastard. Is pretty much what it comes down to. And I make sure that they know that. So I get on them about that stuff. Listen, that's just part of being a good teammate and being you got to learn how to be a follower before you become a leader. And if you're taking the attention away because of your stupid antics, you're going to get called out. Listen, I'm not like yelling at them like I'm a drill sergeant, but shit needs to be done right. God forbid we have standards. We expect you to do things that will help you and not hurt you. Ooh. Cheap R1 says, I do some 5-3-1 full bodies with power cleans and power snatches. How much should I stress on form and technique? My toes lift when I clear the knees. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I guess, when we did power cleans, or at least when I did like hang cleans and hang snatches, my feet would leave the ground a lot. So I'm not exactly sure. Like, you're supposed to triple extension that. So I think, yeah, your form should be good. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to hook yourself up to a computer and monitor your bar path, but it should be solid. You know, you shouldn't cringe if you watched a video of yourself lifting. That's the best way to put it, man. So yes, there has to be some emphasis on form and technique, but you don't have to be a form Nazi. That's the best way I can do it. Emil says, hey Jim, I started the Wendler Classic this week. The volume is just enough to balance with a lot of cardio. Just feel like I'd want to add some arm work and hamstring work, even if it's one set a session. That's fine. If you can handle it, go ahead and have it, let it rip, man. If that's what you need and you think you can handle it, no problem. We gotta start cranking here a little bit. Dave Falp says, hey, love what you do, Jim. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it. Walrus training has been great for my 15-year-old battle chassis. One favor, I really enjoyed the monthly challenge you used to do on the forum. Bring them back. Yeah, I should probably do something like that. It's just hard because I'm so beat up, and everything I'm doing mentally for me, I'll be honest, has to be like rehab. It's just I have a tough time with challenges because most of my challenges are for most of the challenges that I do, Dave, have been inspired by me doing the challenge, so to speak. And so if I don't have that, it's hard for me to think of stuff. So, man, you know, one of the best things I ever did for challenge-wise, and I don't know if anyone wants to do it, you had to do, what was it? 30 half miles of prowler in a month. So pick a month that have 31 days, or you can double up on some days and do a mile. Still one of the best things I ever did. Absolutely miserable. Ugh. So every day you have to average half mile of prowler work. Just miserable. Ugh. Carlos D says, have you ever been a fan of on the whistle starts and timed sets with main lifts in Olympic movements? So I think what you're asking, Carlos, is I say go, you do a set, and you stop when I blow the whistle. I'm guessing that's what it is. Not that I start, you say go, and then you do your set, and then you wait, and I say go. I guess what you mean is the set is, for example, 30 seconds long or 45 seconds long. No, horrible. I don't think those are good at all. I think in a controlled environment with one kid who knows how to work, yes, that's fine. I think in a group thing, I've watched that happen way too many times. So the guy says go, the kid kind of looks around, then picks up the bar, stands there for a little bit. I watched more kids do 3 reps in 45 seconds than I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's a good way of having a lot of kids do a lot of average work, or well below average work. So that's just been my experience. So generally speaking, I like to give the kids rep goals. If I give the kids a specific goal, it has to be X amount or more reps, everything gets better, because the kids have something to work towards. So that's what I would highly recommend. All right, CWF 4774. Hey Jim, a 50-year-old lifter here. Just finished my 4 weeks of triumvirate, feeling good after a long layoff. Should I do another cycle of the same workout or other recommendations? Well, I would keep on doing with what you're doing. If you wanted any variation, I would vary the assistance work. But if you just read your question, it says you feel good. That's how you're supposed to feel. Doesn't mean you can't be a little sore and stuff like that, but you feel good. I would keep on keeping on. All right. So that's one. I get asked this question like, hey man, I'm really making great progress. Everything feels good. Should I do X, Y, and Z? It's like, no, dude, just keep on doing what you're doing, man. So, and then listen, I suffer from that same shit too. So it's no disrespect, man. Mailman James says, hey, I really look forward to these every week. Thanks to all the others for the questions and as always, your time and answers. I love doing this, so thank you very much. Oh, got about 30 minutes until I push the stupid prowler. I don't even know how many steps I'm going to have to take. Usually, like when we're doing like a real average prowler workout, if it's like, you know, a plate and a 25 or 2 plates, we'll do 50 steps per set. With 4 plates, I don't know how far I'm going to do that. We did 3 plates, and that really kicked our ass. I don't know how 4 plates is going to do. It's going to take us forever to do a half mile with 4 plates. And part of it is uphill, which means, thankfully, part of it is downhill, but the uphill is much sharper, and the downhill is probably 4 times the length, 5 times the length. So the uphill is horrible. And people park all their cars on the street, like on the sides. So you got to work yourself around, and there's traffic, and what a pain in the butt. So anyway, all right, I'm going to get going here, peoples. I will be back hopefully next Friday, or I might be doing Thursdays because we have Friday morning training. If I do it again on Friday, guys, it will be a little bit later. I don't know, but I think we're just going to stick with Thursdays for the summer. So we will see. I will try to let everyone know. Listen, if you're going to do something awesome this weekend, have fun, push yourself physically, mentally. Again, we're doing the prowler, half-mile prowler challenge with 4 45-pound plates coming up. Zach did a half mile with 345 pounds on the barbell with a 20-pound vest, no straps. We also did 2,000 steps up with a 65-pound vest. That was about as much fun as you think it would be. So there's always stuff to do, man. Always awesome stuff to do. So I think tomorrow I am going to ride the Airdyne for 26.2 miles too. I think that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I have a nice little break, so to speak, in my training. And as usual, my pull-ups for the day. All right. Love you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I will talk to you. Bye-bye.